Ignesh, I think we can start the session, and by the time other participants will join,
Okay, okay, sir.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, welcome you all again on day 4 session 6. I request to Professor Mahesh Sugar to introduce our speaker. Uh, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Mahesh Fogart, Assistant Professor, Automobile Engineering Department, ADIT. Welcomes you to the final session of 4th day in the FTP on Automobile Engineering, Past, Present, and Future. Our today's eminent speaker is Mr. Samarjitsinh Waghela. Mr. Samarjit Singh is an automobile engineering graduate who completed his PG in Transportation and Automobile Design from National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad, in collaboration with the University of Cincinnati, Ohio, USA. Mr. Samarjit holds expertise in sketching, concept generation, clay modeling, prototyping, Photoshop, Fusion 360, Sketchbook Pro, and many more. He has won the Car Design Academic Award in the competition held in Tokyo, Japan. He also won accolades in the bike design competition organized by Mahindra and Mahindra, India Design Challenge by Autodesk and Maruti Suzuki India Limited, and Annual Design Challenge by Society of Indian Automotive Manufacturers, SIAM India. Mr. Samarjit grabbed opportunities to get associated with various automotive giants such as National Car Company, GVK Group, Mahindra Two Wheelers Limited, Hero Motocorp, Indian Design Studio, and Maruti Suzuki India Private Limited. Currently, Mr. Samarjit Singh is associated with Yulu Bikes Private Limited as a design lead, where he is responsible for designing futuristic EV. I welcome Mr. Samarjit to our current session and request him to take the charge. Mr. Samarjit, over to you.
Thank you, Mahesh, for such a lovely introduction. I think like I'm overwhelmed by this. So, so that is there for me. It is as good as I'm going back to like my alma mater. So that's the case. So I always love to come back to ADIT whenever they need me. Right. So thank you once again. So good afternoon, guys. And today we'll talk about the design and how the design plays role in automotive. And the word design is very subjective, right? But in when it comes to automotive, the car, what we see and on the field, on the ground, or in photographs, or in some magazine, or whatever it is. So it has always been observed that design plays a very crucial role, and it is always in a backstage. So we don't understand. I mean, we don't see importance of design in the front, but whatever the form factor we are seeing right now on the roads, it is all because of the design has taken charge over it. So that's what it is. So with this, I would like to start the presentation. I'm sharing my screen. Yagnesh, meanwhile, if you feel like interrupting me for anything, any technical issue, just let me know, and let me know when my screen is visible or not.
Okay.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we'll start with the topic of future of automotive design. So, but to understand the future, we must have to visit the past first, and then we must have to understand the current trends first, right? Then only we can, relate to what future is coming for us, right? So in that case, this picture, what you are seeing right now, it's more or less presenting the future side of automotive design. And you may say that it looks very futuristic. You may say that it has a very, a sci-fi looking impression when we see it first. So why that has happened, right? So we'll understand this journey, okay? But first we'll revisit the past, like how this automotive design field has emerged into automotive world and how it got started, right? And even to go directly into automotive design, we'll first understand the word design itself. So let's say the next slide, which is here right now. So it presents a question like, what is a design? So this is the simplest form of explanation what design is, right? So we have a lot of complex problems in our society. Let it be product design, let it be some user experience thing, or whatever it is, but the design comes into picture and try to solve it in such a way that it is suitable to all the needs. And basically design is, if I have to simplify the word design, then I'll say that it's a creativity plus the priority. A designer is not an artist. Okay. So you may confuse like designs with that, like asking a question like how beautiful this product is. It might be created by some artist, but that's not the case. It's always a engineering driven thing, and we always have to balance out between creativity and a priority. Me as a creative person, I always want to create some fancy looking product, but the engineering team, if engineering team is not supporting that idea, then I have to choose. I have to choose my priority, like what exactly I'm trying to achieve here, and what is the final business call, right? So that's where we have to balance it out, like creativity plus the priority, and that's what the job of designer is, right? And with this, where the design department is placed in automotive industry. I mean, we are focusing on automotive industry now. So let's say it is the origin of any vehicle where a concept gets its face, skin, or bones, right? So more or less, it's a origin of all. I mean, it's a birthplace of a car, right? So involvement of design department is integral of every other department in the automotive industry, and it all starts with just line on a paper. So we always start with a pen and paper, and I'll give you one demo also right now today, like how this thing happens and what do we do as a designer in the industry, right? And design department just they give the identity to the product and its company. We all know that Toyota is a very sustainable brand, it's a very robust brand, and we know a certain type of designs of it, right? So we know how Hyundai brand is, right? So it is all because of the design of the car. We all know what Ferrari is, we all know what a Lamborghini is, like, so that design language is giving identity to that company. So that is what the most important thing is. And more or less, you can say that it's a place where thought translates into the reality, right? The company has some vision which is intangible, but designers and engineers come together and they make that vision into reality, right? So that's what the design is. And in industry, like department wise, if we talk, so whenever we have some idea that we want to create some kind of bike or some kind of a car or a truck, or let it be anything, so then that brief comes into picture. Then there is a vehicle architecture team which uh, what you can say, I mean, the architecture team comes into picture, and then they figure out that what kind of structure this vehicle will have, and what kind of segment that vehicle will have, and what kind of wheelbase that vehicle will have. So whether it's a two seater, whether it's a four seater, whether it's a seven seater, right? So that vehicle architecture gets into place, and then it will be handed over to the design department, and then the design department will start sketching over that architectural package, right? Then it goes to lots of processes, lots of rigorous processes in the design, and then it goes to engineering part, and then the procurement and vendor, everything comes into picture, and then the manufacturing happens, right? Then the marketing sale try to project that particular product based on the design language which is carried forward, or based on the company's vision, like how do they want to uh, I mean portray that product into the market. So that's another thing. Then it goes to a normal training department, supply chain, and then dealers and distribution. So you can see that design comes into a very early stage. So that's why I was saying that it's the origin of a vehicle, right? And this guy, which is visible right now to you on the screen, his name is Harley J Earl, and we consider this guy as a father of automotive design. Because of his vision and because of his effort, the design department came into picture and automotive design came into reality. And he was a designer. He was the first designer in General Motors, and then he got an opportunity to lead General Motor Design Studio also. So more or less, you can say that General Motor was the first company who understood the importance of design, and then they, I mean, they formulate a proper department in design, and then this guy was the first one who led that project, right? So he's a father of automotive design, you can say. And more or less, it got spread into European world. So design art was there available in across the globe, but importance of design, and particularly in automotive design. So this guy was the one who, um, I mean, he created the design department for that sake, right? And this is the first um OEM studio, I will say, which is again of a General Motors. It was established in 1956, located in Detroit, and that's how it was looking at that particular point of time, right, in 1956. So this is the first design studio of any company, right, in automotive world. So that's why it is, for us, it is kind of a mecca, you can say. So that's thing. And initially, when the design department came into picture and came into reality, and then design work started taking place. So you see here, each and every thing is happening very manually. Okay, there is a clay model you can see of a car, large 1:1 scale model you can see. There are designers who are sketching and who are rendering, and they are discussing the stuff. There is a car on the wall, which is again plotted in 1:1 scale, where we can understand the proportion of a car, right? So everything was happening very manually. And at this particular point of time, I'm talking about, this is early 60s and early 70s, right, where technology was not that evolved. Okay, so during this time, when a design team is given a brief, and then they start working on it, and then they give a first production version, or let's say first prototype of a design, it takes at least 3 years, just to start, just to go from sketch to the first prototype. I'm not even talking about the first production, right? So that was a huge time involved in those days, because the lack of the technology, right? And they used to make physical mock-ups, right? And now everything is changed, everything is digital. So now you will see that how recent tools are helping a design team to make work faster and everything, right? So, and that's the reason at that point of time, when a design was just taking shape, right? So these are the early cars which was considered to be a designer's job, apart from the normal conventional Model T or any other initial automotive very engineering savvy products, right? So these are the models which gave a customers a different perspective, like how cars can start looking beautiful, right? So you might be aware about this car. This is like the most famous Impala, and the bottom right corner, which you are saying, which is used in many of the Hollywood movies. So cultural was affecting the design, then the lifestyle was affecting the design, and this is all American philosophy, right? So they used to love very big cars because they have a very harsh winter, so they like to store everything. So they need a bigger space. Now when they need a bigger space, they build the bigger cars, right? And being an I mean, they being an American, they always like to boast about themselves. So they created a huge car which makes a statement, right? So if you see this car on the left side, which is a side view, so you see both the wheels, but there is a huge surface or huge mass is located just after those wheels, right? We call it, in engineering terms, we call it as overhangs, right? So if you see the overhangs in front and rear, you understand that it's a huge mass, and we don't need that mass, right? And in 60s and in 70s, when Cold War was happening between America and Russia, and the space race came into picture. So many other cars were inspired by the rockets and aircraft. So that's why you see the tails are very, they always have fins on the tails. So this Impala has a fins, right? So those were the reasons these cars were looking like this, right? And in other words, you can say if I have to express this design in 4 keywords, then I'll say that's a bold design. They are very loud, big mouth and big front fascia and big cabin space. They are outrageous, right? They are, in other words, you can say that's a flamboyant or glamorous, right? They always want to show off the things, and obviously they are robust, because to carry this much mass on the road, you need a very big, heavy engines, right? So these are the forward which defines the era of, early era of the automotive design, right? So that is the case. And then we understood that these cars are making statement for sure, but they are not making any sense, right? You don't need this much overhang after the wheels, right? Engineering wise, it should be compact, it should be smart, right? So then the design department, or let's say design team across the globe, has formulated few rules, right? And after a certain time, let's say in 80s or 90s, there was a car called Volvo P1800. So this was a benchmark car, which is an example of a modern design era, right? Still in 80s, 90s, right? So designers or let's say, I mean, across the globe have formulated four things, which is very helpful, or let's say, which are the principles of any automotive design, right? So first is the silhouettes. Okay, now what do we mean by silhouettes? So it's the overall shape, overall form factor of the car. I will see that in the next slide. Then the proportions of the car, right? So on earlier side, in this slide, you will see this, each and every car is very out of proportion. Out of proportions means there is no visually good looking ratio of the vehicle. Everything is looking very chunky, everything is looking very flary in this case. But proportions played in a major role in defining the beauty of a car, right? And that's why this car is considered to achieve a golden ratio when it comes to proportion in stance and in details, right? So what do we mean by stance? So whenever we see a particular kind of a car, we try to get some impression out of it. Let's say we all know that Rolls-Royce cars are always looks very royal or very grand, right? Why is it so, right? And details of a car, right? So we always say that God lies in the details, right? So in this case, I mean, the minute details of the car, like headlamp or tail lamp or other chrome grills, make each and every other car beautiful, right? So these are the four things which is considered to be most basic principle if you want to understand the automotive design, right? So we'll talk further about the silhouettes. As I said earlier, so we as a human being always try to see a whole picture, right? Be it a car or be it any other thing. So first thing which we notice consciously or subconsciously, that is a silhouette of a car. Silhouette means the outline of a car without noticing any details, or without noticing what kind of segment it is. So you see the picture on the left side, it is it's one of the most iconic car, Porsche 911, right? And if you see on the right side, there are cars of a different segment. So one is a hatchback, the another one is a MPV, then there's a sedan, right? So we always notice how that car is looking as a whole, right? And that is considered as a silhouettes. Okay, so silhouettes are very important because that's the first thing which we notice subconsciously, right? And once the silhouette is observed, then the proportions are defined, right? And proportions are the most important element in any car design. Now, what do I mean by proportion? So you can see here in car design, we always try to measure the car with the help of a wheel. So if you see on the left side, there is a wheel and there is a circle, right? So distance between the two wheels, I mean, the front wheel and the rear wheel, is another 3 wheels, right? So this is a sedan segment, and normally in a sedan segment across the globe, they design it like this, Okay, so they will keep 3 wheels distance between the front axle and the rear axle. Okay, and this is the most standard proportions defined by the automotive society, or let's say design society. Then there is a pillar. Okay, so A pillar is the first pillar in the car. So which is, if you see those lines, so they are colliding with the front wheel. Okay, so that's how the stance or the proportion is defined for the let's say area above the let's say wheels. Okay, so we call it as a, in design term, this is where windshield is there and where the side windows are there. This area is known as a DLO. We call it as a daylight opening area. Okay, so this DLO, height of this car is defined again by the wheel size, like how many wheels it has above it. So those are the basic proportion principles. So if you see on the other side of it, so even the width of a car is defined by it, like how much wide it is, like where the engine will be placed and where the headlights will be placed, like, so all those things will be defined by this, wheel size, right? So for us, wheel is very important if you want to define the proportion of a car, right? Then we say the stance of car, which I was explaining earlier. You see the Rolls-Royce cars here. So there is a huge distance between the front axle and let's say this. Let me try to. Okay, let me try doing this. Maybe. Okay, yeah. So the. Okay. Okay, so there is a huge distance between the front axle and the A pillar. So the more the distance the car have, it will look more luxurious, right? So that's why Rolls-Royce car always looks very grand, and it always has a very luxurious stance, because it is designed like this. It is proportionated like this, right? When we see a sports car like Lamborghini, so you notice the position of A pillar. It is going, if I have to draw a straight line from this place, so it is going beyond the front wheel, right? And it produces a very aggressive posture, right? Very aggressive character. So this is an aggressive stance, right? And you see the bottom car, which is Mercedes A Smart. So you see it looks very cute and bubbly kind of a thing, right? So there is a reason for it, because its stance is such that it looks familiar, or it looks friendly. So stance are very important when it comes to design, right? And then the details. So you see there are very minute details in like mirrors or cameras or headlights and tail lights. They all look, car are designed very mature and very thoughtful, right? So, and detail always makes everything very beautiful, right? So that's one of the core reason that this silhouettes, then the proportion, then the stance, and the details, these four are the most important parameters of automotive design, right? So then we'll go into the proper design process, like, which is a current process. Okay, so earlier I showed you the pictures of 60s and 70s eras design studios. So they were all very manual. Then we set up some rules, right? So this is a current design process which each and every industry follows, right? So they receive a brief of to create a particular kind of a segment, a particular, I mean, car or motorbike, or let it be anything, right? Then the constraints are decided by the architecture team, right? And then the stance comes into picture, like what kind of mood or what kind of vehicle we want to show here. Let's say it can be a sport bike, or it can be a sports car, or it can be a very common MPV, right? So a mood board is designed accordingly, which conveys the same kind of mood, right? And then the sketching starts. Okay, then once the sketching takes place, then the refinement happens, and the design language is fixed for that particular vehicle, which shows a particular kind of a character. Then the Photoshop comes into picture, and then the digital rendering thing comes into picture. So rendering, what do I mean by rendering is, we try to fill in the colors, and we try to understand the light and shadow of a sunlight plays around on that surface, and how, what kind of impression it reflects back, right? So that is one thing, right? And then the refinement again happens, and once the digital renders are freezed, then we go to a 3D modeling stuff. that can be a software like Alias or Katia or Fusion 360, or let it be any kind of a model, right? So we take those sketches into a digital format, and we start to build a 3D volume around it, right? And once this 3D volume is prepared, then we go for a clay modeling, right? So in earlier picture, if you want to see the clay modeling again, yeah, so these are the clay models, but this all clay models are prepared by hands, right? But nowadays they take a help of a machines also, like CNC milling, and then the final touches is given by the clay modeler. So there is a particular post of a clay modeler in the design studio. They'll take care of this modeling. Right now, this clay modeling is very important because it's a first step towards 1:1 scale, and that's where the designer understand his sketches into a reality, like how the surfaces are playing, right? Whether it is matching the company's vision and designer's vision or not. So they refine that clay model. And then another team comes into picture, which defines the color of the vehicle, which defines what kind of material we should use on seat and everything that sort, and what kind of stickers or graphic this should have, right? And once these things are freezed, then the engineering team, design team, and color material teams goes for the prototyping, right? And prototyping is a first step towards the realistic production model, right? And that is made out of metal and like proper functional prototype which they try to build. And then engineering team refines it, and then the production happens, right? So this is a complete design process which is followed right now in each and every automotive industry, right? So that is that. Do you have any questions so far, or do you want me to go ahead?
Continue.
Yeah, okay, fine. So now we understood that principles of design is placed. Now design process is placed. So because of this modern step, the evolution of automotive is coming into picture at a very rapid pace, right? So we see that in 1936 how this car were looking, and then till 1949 there is no significant change in the vehicle. But you see the car of a 1975, this is the same brand and the same model, and you see the car of a 2000s, it is again the same model. Now you see the car in 2025, right? So this rules which is prescribed by the design community, it is helping designers to create more interactive and more modern looking vehicles, right, according to the trends. Okay. And so this evaluation is there in each and every product, and I'll say automotive evaluation is the most interesting ones, because it changes the form completely, right? And it is a moving thing on the wheels, right? So that's why you have a great opportunity to come up with a lot of new changes, right? So we can understand that this evolution, that's how it is happening, right? And the most iconic evolution I will say in India right now is a evolution of Tata Safari, which we'll all understand, right? We all know Tata Safari, how it was looking when it was launched, and then how it got changed with time. The car was launched in early 2000s, but within the 20 years, you see how stylish version they have created, right? And within this 20 years, they have introduced 5 models, and out of which the 5th one is the most better looking, I'll say, right? So this evolution of automotive is coming into picture because of the new trends and new technology which is supporting the designer's vision, right? So you see here in the red Safari, which is there, which was the first model, that vehicle was still looking beautiful, right? But it has a very very common shape in headlights, right? They were not experimenting much with it because engineering constraint, right? But then you see the Dicor, and then you see the Storm. They have tried to achieve a sharpness or an aggressiveness for this overall form factor. And when it came into the final version of Safari, you can see it is absolutely amazing in terms of headlights, in terms of overall stands, in terms of overall proportion. So it looks very futuristic, right? So it's a pragmatic, stylish, it looks sharp, as well it looks sporty, right? So this is the evolution of a car, then, and that's how design helped them to create such a wonderful and interesting form factors, right? So now we have understood the current design trend, then we'll see that how will be the future trends, okay, in automotive. So we'll talk about the 10 trends which is going to be mainstream in coming years, and because of the technology, or let's say plug-in hybrid, diesel hybrid vehicles or plug-in electric vehicles are coming into the picture now, and we are at a transition point right now, right? The 100 years of gasoline engine, I mean, that era is going to change now, right? And we are standing at a crossroads. Okay. Now, EVs are not a something. EVs are considered to be a successful automotive production vehicle, right? So that trend is not going away, okay, anytime soon. And gasoline engine might, we might be dropping those concept in next 20 to 30 years, right? So EV is the future. And why EV is the future? Because that makes sense. Because when we talk about EV cars, so you have a very less moving parts. You don't have a messy engines, right? Huge. You don't have a lot of components. Okay, it's just a battery pack and then controllers, and then you can just play with the overall form factor. So now you have a less moving parts, which is occupying a space. So you can create a better experience for the users who are riding this vehicle, right? That's how you will achieve more space inside the car, right? And it also allows to come up with a new type of constructions, right? This photograph which you are seeing right now is not at all a conventional automotive design, right? Earlier, if you see these pictures, or let's say this picture, you see there is a front wheel, there is a rear wheel, and then there is a pillar, B pillar, and C pillar, right? Which is there. So this is a conventional form of automotive, right? But if you see this picture, the A pillar star is very thin. Normally, it is an engineering constraint that you can't create a A pillar with such a thin cross section, but it is possible now because you have that kind of material, that kind of technology which supports that strength of an A pillar, right? So, and there is no B pillar at all. There is just directly a C pillar, which is landing at a rear wheel. Okay. So you see the whole design language is changed. I mean, each and everything is changed because this EVs are allowing designers to create such a bold looking car, right? So this is one trend which will drive the future of automotive design. Then there's the next thing I mean, broad, low, and lightweight front fascia. Okay, so if you see this car, you'll see it's let's check again with the Safari. So the point which I was mentioning there, the red Safari which you see there, it has a very big headlight, right? And it has a space opening for a radiator there, and you have a huge front bumper. Now check this thing here, right? You have a very sleek looking headlights. It serves the same purpose, but still this still looks futuristic. Now you don't have a space for radiator because you don't need radiators, right? So that's why you can just cover that space up. Okay, and even the name of the car, this is Hyundai 45. They call it as a E45, right? So you see, it is digitally embossed, name of the car on the front bumper. So that is another trend which is coming up. And again, you see the daylight opening area, or let's say the front windshield and the side windows. It is again a very dramatic space there, right? So this kind of things are coming into picture, and this is a production version, I'm saying, right? So these things are happening, and this is going to be a great, I mean, the mainstream future trend in coming future, right? Or in recent years, right? And then we see panoramic roof. So earlier we were very fascinated about this small sunroof in the car, but now we have opportunity to create a panoramic roof, right? So nowadays cars are becoming a moving space. They don't consider it as a car, they consider it as a moving space. So like an EV has allowed that experiment. So people are, or let's say designers are very excited about this, and then they have started considering it as a it's a space which we have to design, taking inspiration from the modern architecture also, right? So you might have seen those things in some of the futuristic buildings. So those things are coming in automotives now, right? So this is there. So this panoramic roof is going to be a very big trend in coming future. Then this kind of double doors. Okay, so the way we all know that how the front door should open and how the rear door should open, right? But now those things are also changing because of EV thing. This you have a more space inside the car, and to access that space you need a more wide open doors, right? So for that they have created such doors. So we call it as a double door design. Okay, and if you see the headlights which I was mentioning earlier, right? So LEDs are enough to project to act as a projector and illuminate enough light to avoid on the roads in the night, to avoid any kind of mishappenings, right? So we have evolved this headlight technology also. They are looking very sleek, very beautiful, and yet very efficient, right? So this is also going to be a very big trend in the market, right? Then regenerative braking, again with the help of EV, because of EV we are doing this, right? So regenerative braking, we all know that we'll try to save some power and try to regenerate the power from the braking thing, right? And then we'll try to charge the batteries and use it for braking, right? So this regenerative braking is also going to be a mainstream concept. Currently it is into experimental phase, and it is not very much viable in few of the segments, but in coming days, that as the technology progresses, this regenerative braking is going to be a mainstream, right? Now instead of side view mirrors or rear view mirrors, now we try to install cameras, okay, which gives us a proper vision with proper you might have seen whenever in nowadays whenever we are taking a reverse parking, so there is a line which is produced by the system on our screen, right, which directs us to steer the vehicle, right? So those kind of things are coming for the mirrors as well. So mirror will not be same as what we are seeing right now. In coming future there will be just the camera in front bumper, in side view mirrors, or in the rear side of it, rear side of the car, right? That is there. And this is a very interesting trend, this heads up display on the windshield. Okay, so because of this, there is no need of instrument cluster to be placed inside the car. Now everything can be projected on the windshield, right? And it reduces the complexity, and yet it gives you a very futuristic looks, and it serves the purpose perfectly, right? So these are the things which are coming into the near future, or let's say in the distant future. So this voice assisted technology, so now you can just talk to your car the same way we talk to our phone. Now you can talk to cars also. So there will be interactive cars coming into picture, which the car artificial intelligence system will be able to understand your gesture, your posture, your mood, and then they will change the lighting inside the car. And those all kind of dramatic experience are coming into reality, right? So those things are also there. And obviously we all know that autonomous cars are going to be a future, right? So that is also going to be a great mainstream trend in future. So like people want to relax, and Tesla, we all know Tesla, like how their autonomous feature is working, and that's how this thing will become a mainstream thing, and we'll achieve the level 5 of autonomous if everything goes okay. With obviously we are talking about the distance future here, like 20 years down the line or 30 years down the line, because it requires a lot of refinement in current technology. So these are the 10 futuristic trend, and based on this trends I have tried to created a vehicle, right? And it's a sketch of the vehicle, and I'll try to show you like how automotive designers do the rendering in real time, how the automotive designers give definition to a particular car. Okay, so I'll connect my equipments here, and I'll try to give you a live demo of Photoshop render, right? Like what is a Photoshop render and how do we do it in industry. So that's what it is. Meanwhile, this I'll try to connect the system, and meanwhile you can ask me any questions if you have. Just give me 1 minute. I'll try to connect the system.
Yeah, it's okay. Fine.
Okay. Yes, my screen is still visible, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see the sketch?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay, fine. Okay. So this is a sketch which I have prepared. Okay. I sketched it on a paper, right? Then I took it on a Photoshop. Okay. This is the most standard software we use to, to convert our design into a proper refined design, I'll say. Okay, so I'll try to fill in some colors and I'll try to show you that how these things works actually. And I've already prepared few things so that I don't take a lot of time of yours. Okay, and then we can take it forward from that place, and you can just stop me in between wherever you want. Okay, and I'll answer your questions if you have any, right? So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to fill in the colors. Okay, and once I'll fill in the colors, I'll try to play with a light and shadow. Okay, and whenever we start a Photoshop rendering, we always black out few things. So the space of the tires, which we don't need as of now. Okay, while we are rendering it. Okay, so you see here, that's how we black out the things. Okay, now I can concentrate only on the remaining surfaces. Okay, so I'll put some base color there. Okay, so this is the base color. So this is the color which I want to go ahead right now, or maybe I can change it, no problems. So let's say I'll use some other color, something light silver, certain things. Okay. Okay, so this is kind of a light silver. Okay, it's fine. So I have defined the basic color of my car. Okay, now I'll try to give some light and shadow to it, like how this thing will. Okay. Okay. So I'm assuming that light is coming from the top. Okay, so when the light is coming from the top, this area will be reflecting the maximum light, and this area will be reflecting the minimum light. That's why it is dark, and that's why this area will be the lightest. I'll make it lighter in some time. Right. So this is one thing. Okay. Now I'll try to see that how this wheel arc are placed. Okay. Let's see what we can do there. So we use different kind of brush. So this is the area above the wheel, which will again reflect the maximum light. So that's why I'm highlighting it. So let me try with some other brush. So Photoshop is basically a lot of fun. It is as simple as we are creating a drawing, but with a mature, understanding of what exactly we are doing. Similarly, we'll try to. There will be a similar type of things on the rear side as well. Okay, since it's there, then we'll try to see. So whatever I'm doing right now, it is all matching with the design trend which I have just explained. Okay, so as I said that there will be a big surfaces in the vehicle, so that's what we are creating. One. So this is another highlighted element which will reflect the light. So Photoshop has a lot of layers, and we try to create each and every element on a different layers. So that's what it is. Although we have a limitation of time, so I won't be able to do very detailed rendering here, but this will give you an idea that what sort of job designer do, right? Normally rendering takes weeks to finish one render, so it's a very detailed job because based on it the engineering team will uh, give us the opinion that whether it's going to work or not, right? So we have a lot of different kind of brushes to play with. So something we have a soft brush, something we have a light brush. So those kind of things. It's super fun. It's super fun. So you can see there is a step here, right? And there will be a light reflecting on the ground also from the ground. So we call it as a bounce light. So that bounce light will also come into the picture. Right now I'm concentrating just on the side profile. Once that is sorted, I'll go for the front fascia. This is there. Now this is the belt line area, which will also reflect light. We'll do it on another layer. So this is a character line which defines the character of a car. And it also helps in, give the stance, which I was explaining earlier. For this windshield, we'll try to do something. Windshields, I mean, the side windows are always transparent, or let's say translucent. So then how does it look? I'll try to create something there. So this is a B pillar which I'm creating right now. We can get an idea that what exactly. Now this is a side view mirror. So this will also have some reflection, a shadow. Yeah. So now you can see there is a language defined here, right? You can understand the surfaces now, that where the light and shadow playing. Let's say we can see the wheels also. Wheels will also help us in defining the overall volume. So you see in this side profile, we have almost achieved that how the light and shadow will come into the picture and how the overall form factor will look. So if I have to draw, let's say, if I have to understand the surface, I'll can do something like, you can read these lines, right? So one is this, then this surface goes like this, then there is a depth, then there is this surface goes like this, then there is a depth again, right? So this kind of things are very important. So that's why we do this Photoshop rendering thing, right? So this helps us whether it's going in the right direction or not, right? And there's this thing, and there's this thing, and then there's this thing. And just, so this, we call it as a contour line. Okay, so contour line gives us an idea about each and everything. Now we have this front fascia. Okay, we'll see what we can do there. As I showed in the previous slides also, that this is nowadays people prefer to have, you know, wider areas, wider front fascias. It's, okay. Okay, so this will also again reflect the light. If I have to draw a contour line in this place, okay, I can draw it here. So this is a kind of a center line of the vehicle. You see, and this is the contour line. This is how the surfaces are playing. Okay, this is there. Okay, and there will be a very light reflection on this side. Right. So this is the front area. Now we can play with the headlamp. Bottom area is also that. We'll try to do something there. There is a cavity there. This gives us an idea that what exactly we're talking about. Then one last element will create quickly. That is a headlight. So as I said earlier, that people prefer this futuristic headlights nowadays. So that's going to be a big trend. So let's see if you can understand that now. See, I think we'll stop there. But I just one last element. Just wanted to give you a very brief idea that what automotive design is all about. So otherwise, it's gonna take very long time to refine this render and make it presentable. This is just a very brief idea about what we do, right? So this is how it is. Let's say if at last, if you want to create background, then maybe let's see if that helps. Yeah, so maybe we'll create a dark background. You see, the whole language is changed, but you can understand that how volume will play a role here, right? So this is how it is. This is what the automotive design is all about. Yeah, we can understand this thing, right? So that's what we do as a designer. So this is a one manual way to design a car. Now, once this is done, we'll create a multiple views of this car. Like one is from front, one is from that side, and then one is from another angle, and then we take it to a 3D modeling thing, and we'll refine it further there, right? So I would like to stop here for this Photoshop render thing, right? And if anyone have any question, I'm more than happy to answer again. Just stop me wherever you want. It's no problem. Okay, or else I'll move to the next part of it. Yagnesh?
I think we can take
Hello?
questions at the
Yagnesh?
last.
Yeah, okay. So maybe I'll do a very quick session on AI, if it is not, because artificial intelligence is also playing a huge role now. And if you want to see, I can show a demo of it. that how artificial intelligence plays a role in automotive design. We can sketch something right now. The one which I have sketched on a Photoshop, AI will create a similar kind of render on its own. If you'd like to see, I can do that also. Do you want me to do that? Hello?
Yeah, there was some network issue. Right, yes.
Okay, so I'll show you one quick demo. So this is the new way of automotive rendering, we'll say. So in this place, we render directly. The system render it for us, right? So I have imported this sketch in the system. I can show this render once again. Okay, uh, let's say. hmm, Yeah, so we have this sketch. Now, when I'll press a render button, the things which I've done on the Photoshop till now, the system will do it in few seconds. Okay. So see, the things which is created here is all done by a AI system. And now I can download this thing, and then I can take it to a Photoshop and render it further. So system has done half job for me. Right? So this is one more thing, which is that's how the AI is helping us, right? And there is a one more tool, right, in which we just have to create few lines, and the system will itself start rendering on its own. I just have to give very basic inputs like this. Okay. You see, it has created wheels and everything. So this is going to be a big game changer for all the automotive designers, because they don't have to worry about the Photoshop render or anything. Although this is a very kind of toyish looking car, but you see on this side, the system is generating the render on its own. Although it's very raw, it's still in a trial phase as of now, but you can see that how things are changing, right? Because I have a tool limitation now, so I can't sketch it like I do it on a normal pen and paper. Okay, but this is an amazing stuff. So this AI is helping us. So that's what the future is. Right? Future of the design is. Right? You see here, it has created. It is changing its own. Right. So this is also one kind of a fascinating stuff. Right. Yeah. And apart from this, like augmented reality, virtual reality, it's also playing a huge role in designing right now, because when it comes to virtual reality, people can now go to a space in a virtual space. Designers from different country come together on a same platform, and then they design together at a one in that virtual space. I would like, and I have tried that thing on my own. So I would like to show you that thing. It is anything 3D printed car is going to be a next big thing. This augmented virtual reality. You see this thing. These are the sketches I have created by going into a virtual space. Okay, so you see that. So I can create a 3D sketch. This is the interior of a car, right? But I can sketch it with a pen there, but not a normal pen. It's a virtual reality pen, and you can create a whole space. You can create the whole experiences, right? So this is another big thing in design world right now. So there is no boundary, or there is for people who want to create something with people from another country. It is extremely possible, right? So this is also another exciting thing. These are the VR sketches in real time. Okay. Yeah, so that is there, and I have given you the AI demo already. So in a nutshell, and even the generative designing also helping us a lot to create a more robust form factors, right? So this is another example of it. And in a nutshell, if I have to summarize this whole session, then this slide is enough to do that. The future is going to be smart. It is going to be a modular, right? Whatever the trends I have explained, it is all reflected in this one slide, right? So this is what the automotive design direction right now for the world. And it's not a conventional looking automotives which is coming into the future. It's very unique shape things are coming into picture, because EV has changed the whole market. It has given a lot of freedoms to the designer, right? And that's why a single platform is used for MPV, for sedan, for this cargo carrying vehicles, and even for small buses, right? A single platform will be used everywhere. So this direction is becoming smart now. It's becoming modular. So this is what it is. And I think that's it from my side. If you have any other questions, or if you have any kind of questions, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer.
Yeah, so any question having from participant side may ask to speaker. Yes, anyone have? It's fine, Mr. Samarjit.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So
it is a really a nice presentation, and you have
okay.
shown such a beautiful tutorial,
Yes.
design tutorial. And on behalf of Automobile Engineering Department Management, I would like to thank you so much being with us, and you have accepted the invitation immediately and deliver for as an expert and deliver such a nice talk. Thank you very much, Samarjit.
It's always great, Agnesh. You come back to the alma mater, as I said earlier. So just whenever you need anything from my side, I'll be more than happy to help. No problems at all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanjay sir. Thank you, Mahesh. Thank you, Agnesh. I'll conclude the session then. I can leave the session. Is that okay?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, guys. Okay. Bye.
So
I think it's not, Agnesh, I think it's not disconnected. Can you disconnect it from your end?
no.
It's not disconnected yet. So maybe just give me.
You may.
Okay. Yes. I understand. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
So nice session we have. Day 4, session 4. Now we having a no session for next 2 days, 25th and 26th. We will meet again on 27th, Monday. Have a good day. Happy Christmas to all. Today's link is open now within 2 minutes. So have a great day. Goodbye.